Hey YouTube. So wanted to start a new build video today. In this one, I think I'm going to go for something a bit different than what we were working on last time. I'm kind of coming off of that project where we were exploring prop piece placement with various books inside on bookshelves inside of a bar library hybrid, and I think really I just need to spend more time there, you know, before I'm comfortable moving forward, making sure the bookshelves look unique enough, and I'm not going to worry too much about other decorations or really building anything else until kind of line the walls with the bookshelves and get enough books on the shelves, and I think that's just kind of a numbers thing at this point. But for this one, I think I'm going to work on a new landscape, and that's going to be a beach island, treasure island, whatever you want to call it. I like the idea of a you know a a random secluded island perhaps with some kind of structure on it in a video game level, almost like you have to get from point A to point B and find the treasure there. Um, it's kind of an interesting thought, but yeah, with that being said, let's jump into a project. And you'll see I've created a new project here called Treasure Island. And to start, I think I'm just going to use the landscape tool to kind of build me sort of something to start with, a starting landmass that we can work off from. So I'll come over here to landscape, and yeah, that should be pretty good somewhere in there. Actually, we can jack up the tool strength a little bit. And then let's just, right in the middle, make a huge structure. All right, I like that. That's interesting. Okay, maybe I'll do one more over here. Kind of get something started. Okay, cool. I like that. Now I'm going to switch over to the flatten tool and just kind of build out some lower levels here. Almost like so we could have a multi-level, exploring the Z axis a little bit more just to see, in this massive island, is it just kind of, is it just one flat area and then, one thing at the top, or do we, perhaps have different levels with different things going on? So yeah, I think for me, probably start, click in here, and then click here. Maybe even just bring that over like that. It's kind of interesting. And let's click somewhere in here. Maybe one more level in here. Okay, I like that. Yeah, maybe we'll do one more, a little bit over here. Is that too skinny? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Oops, too much. Too much zoom. We'll build this out maybe a little bit more over here. Then let's go back into sculpt one more time. Oh, volcano would be kind of interesting, but no, we'll save that for another one. But yeah, I like that. Great. Let's add the water. So come up here. Nope, gotta come here. Start, just kind of click on that box, the green plus sign, type water. Then you look for water body ocean. And kind of a pro tip, I was playing with this earlier. Don't just click on it, release. Left click, hold left click, and then you can see the shape. This is going to kind of spawn a little sandy almost like a little mini island that you could place anywhere on this, and you would just have this flat, island with this length and width. But I think what I'm going to do is place it somewhere down in here, and the idea is that we'll build like a land bridge over to it, and of course that's on top of the layer we were just working on. So we'll move that down, and that should reveal. We'll move that down, move that up, and yeah, that'll show exactly that. So you can see some of what we were just working on just disappeared there. That's interesting. So yeah, maybe I'll move that down just a tad. Yeah, it's right there at the edge, so won't do that too much. What I will do though, is pull this in, pull this in. Yeah, we'll do something like that right there. And then we will come back into our landscape and let's flatten from here over like that. All right, very nice. I like that a lot. Okay. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my material, so we can get rid of this ugly checkerboard we have. I don't even know what you call that. Like to think about it as almost like it's clay that you're just molding, but it's like, well, if you were to paint your car that color, that texture, not a color, but yeah, same difference. Okay, so for our material, I've actually started one already. My content, you'll see we have the M_master beach. And this one called that because I kind of went with the idea of from some tutorials I've seen. By the way, shout out to this one YouTuber, UNF Games. You do great content. I've learned a lot from watching you. Learned kind of this. This seemed like one of the standout ways to go about material creation. But so yeah, I've got 4 different materials in this one material. So it's a material within a material, materials within a material. Kind of to start, a texture coordinate, and then this is just the simple constant with a value of 0.5 into a multiply node. And then I have essentially strings from this multiply node going into the UVs of all. So these 3 make up one color, one color with like color, texture, and all. And then, the final one. So 4 in total. You'll need a string from here going into the UV for each of these 3. Once you have all of those strings connected, you'll then want to make sure you grab the appropriate end pieces from each of the texture samples from each of your you know maybe downloaded colors, and then you'll want to plug those into a make material attributes. And you can just hit right click and search these. Um, Make material attributes. You can pretty much, I think this one right here, constant, there's a few of those, but for the most part, right click is what I've been doing, typing in what it is, and then, you know, control duplicating it. And um, yeah. And then so once you have all of your strings from your texture samples into the appropriate places, and we'll take a look real quick at which ones go where. So kind of I did, this first block here goes to this one, this to this one, number 3 down here to this one, number 4 to this one. So let's, oops, nope, don't want to do that. Do want to highlight y'all and bring y'all up here, and then we'll bring this up here. So yeah, you should be able to see this a little bit better. So I think before we show really where these go, each of these will come with anything you download from the Quixel Bridge plugin, any material. So I just went up here and searched sand and pulled up a lot of sand materials, 4 that I thought I would really use. It's not going to show it here. What am I doing? If you come down to your content browser, it will load those into from Quixel Bridge. Once you download them, it'll load those into Megascans, surfaces, and then you'll get something like this right here. This is your albedo, this is your normal, and this is your roughness. There is a really great online article I found that explains this, I think, way better than anything I've really found. But so this is help.polygon.com. I'll try to link this. Hopefully, don't get any kind of infraction here. YouTube doesn't strike my profile for doing this, but this kind of talks about all of the various texture maps that can be made available. So I know for this one right here, so this is your albedo. This is kind of like the main color. This texture sample here, this is going to correlate to your normal, aka bump. And from reading this, really what this sounds like is how does this system show the third dimension? So the X and the Y is on a two-dimensional screen. We have those dimensions on the screen. How do we show depth in any, direction of whatever texture we're looking at? And then I guess there's ways, from that where you can kind of control how pronounced is that depth, which is really interesting. And then this texture sample here, again, if we look in, this last one here, so we have the first one is like your main color. This one is that, you know, the representation of the Z almost inside of, that material instance. And then finally, this last one is going to control. We're probably going to get two things really from there, but that'll be the roughness and the ambient occlusion. So you'll see that if we look at this material we've created, we have albedo going to kind of that base color, the RGB node here for the normal going to the normal, and then move that up a little bit. The red from this one here going down into your ambient occlusion, and then the green going into your roughness. See, I'll make sure to link that article. It does a really good job of explaining that. But yeah, essentially, once you've gotten all your materials downloaded, you've imported them here, you can actually just coming straight from Quixel Bridge, you download them, you add them directly to your. If I download that, you'll see it downloads fairly quickly. Click Add, you'll see that it actually just pulls it up right there. You can just do a click, shift, click again, grab all three, go right into kind of hovering over the material. After a second or two, it'll pop you in here with all three of those. You release. Just kind of drag and drop all three of them. Again, you're going to start off with your texture coordinate. So this one kind of controls, I guess, really the values for, how much texture there is on the screen. I kind of think about when you set your desktop monitor to tiling, and you see the same picture repeated, like how many of those repeats are there? And then we're kind of using this basic constant here going into a multiply. Then you have a string into each UV for each of your texture of the three texture samples we're using. Then that goes into this make material attributes, which finally that goes into an interesting one here, which is a landscape layer blend. So it kind of gives you the ability to, this is where we import all of like the kind of the top of the funnel. We import all of those various colors and then we output that right into just the base color. Once you have all that, we're going to save that. We're going to come back. We're going to go my content. We're going to create a material instance. And then from here, what we'll do is we'll come back into selection. We'll find the landscape and landscape material from the list. I think that was master beach instance. Yep. And yep. So yeah, that should turn black like that. It's almost like what's going on here. But what you have to do is come from the selection mode, so we just applied it to the landscape. You have to come back over here to actual landscape and go into paint And then from here, you have to click this plus sign and do a weight. I'm selecting weight, blended layer, normal. Save that. Do that for each of the four. So once you're ready to start painting, you will see, you kind of go through, you click the plus sign, you save all these. You can come back in, obviously adjust your brush size, you adjust the tool strength. Just go ahead and kind of jack this all the way up. And you'll see this first one here is the kind of lighter sand. I think I really want to control or start to look at how those little pebbles, like what kind of controls the interval of that texture appearing versus not appearing. This one is going to be an orangish, darker sand. This one is the one I think we already have that kind of loaded into the instance. Just looks a shade, perhaps. I don't even know if that's darker or lighter, really. But yeah, like as you can see, there's these repeating U shapes. So I'm sure that's something we can control in the texture mapping once we go back and adjust that material. And then the final one is, that's not, it's kind of harder to tell. It's just a bunch of kind of speckles. There's no actual, doesn't even look like there's really a texture associated with that. Maybe you kind of look, it's almost like some rose perhaps, maybe if you look real close. But yeah, I think be a good kind of stopping point for the next video. We'll look at maybe adjusting some of these colors, maybe adding in some other sand effects. I'm thinking about, around the kind of the area over here, it would be something like, this is going to look weird, but I like how that kind of darkens it up down there, like almost like you think about the sea floor being extremely dark. But I think on the actual beach itself, I was hoping to get like more of a weathered material or texture, not material. But yeah, something that looks like the beach has been used. People have kind of come on board, come onto this island here, have explored it a little bit. And yeah, so we might tweak that material next time, explore some prop placement, get this island hopefully painted up, and yes, maybe place some big boulders and rocks and perhaps jump into some foliage as well. But yeah, thank you.